Karma never loses an address. Rumors are swirling that Kody and Robyn are secretly filing for bankruptcy behind closed doors. Is the king of polygamy about to be living on the streets? Or at the very least, forced out of his million-dollar McMansion? Just weeks ago, in April 2026, a fan posted a photo online claiming to have spotted Robyn Brown shopping at a discount thrift store. Not an antique shop, not a high-end boutique, a heavily discounted bargain bin thrift store. And let me tell you, the internet absolutely erupted. But by the end of this video, I am going to reveal the one devastating rumor about Robyn's desperate next move that almost nobody noticed. The thing that changes how you see this entire financial disaster. But to get there, and to truly understand how massive this downfall is, we have to start at the beginning and look at the actual math. We all know that for years, Kody and Robyn lived like absolute royalty, while the other wives scraped by. We saw it on our screens. That part is heavily documented. We saw Christine hustling with her online sales. We saw Janelle literally living in an RV on a patch of dirt because the family money was tied up. We saw Mary giving the proceeds from the sale of her Las Vegas home to help Robyn buy her massive house in Flagstaff. The entire structure of the Brown family for over a decade relied on one central concept: the family pot. The family pot was this magical bank account where all the wives deposited their hard-earned money, their TLC paychecks, their side hustle income, and from that pot, the family's expenses were supposedly paid equitably. But anyone who has watched this show knows that equitable is not exactly a word in Kody Brown's vocabulary. Now here is where fans on Reddit and social media start to wonder, and honestly, the timeline is incredibly hard to ignore. What happens when the magical family pot dries up? What happens when Christine packs up her life, takes her income, and leaves? What happens when Janelle finally looks at the finances, realizes she has nothing to her name, and walks away? What happens when Mary, the family's most consistent earner, officially cuts the cord? Well, what happens is that Kody and Robyn are left holding the bag, and it is a very, very expensive bag. For years, Kody acted like he was this masterful businessman. He walked around Coyote Pass, pointing at trees, stripping logs, talking about drawing up property lines and building grand empires. But an empire requires capital, and Kody's capital just walked out the door, moved to Utah, got married to a man named David Woolley, and started living her best life. Meanwhile, Kody and Robyn are sitting in a house stuffed to the brim with expensive art, precious moments figurines, and designer jewelry, suddenly realizing that the TLC check alone is not going to cover the lifestyle they have grown dangerously accustomed to. Hold that thought for a second, because it really matters later when we look at the thrift store photo. Let's talk about the hoarding. If you go back and watch the episodes from the last few seasons, just look at the background of Robyn's house. It is documented on the show, right there in high definition. Every horizontal surface is covered. There are massive, expensive paintings on the walls. There are enormous geode crystals that cost thousands of dollars sitting on tables. There are display cabinets filled with Dickens village houses and expensive knickknacks. We have seen Kody wearing a David Yurman pendant. We have seen him wearing Rolex watches. We have seen Robyn wearing expensive rings and designer brands. They have been living a champagne lifestyle. But nobody has confirmed this next part. This is where the tabloid rumors and the intense fan speculation come into play. Rumor has it that all of that luxury was built on a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Fans and online sleuths have been theorizing for months that without the income from Christine, Janelle, and Mary, Kody and Robyn are quite literally drowning. We are talking maxed-out cards, missed minimum payments, and a terrifying financial deficit that they cannot hide anymore. When you suddenly lose roughly 75% of your household's earning power, but you refuse to downsize your lifestyle, the math does not just get fuzzy, it gets fatal. And that brings us back to that photo in April 2026. A fan snaps a picture. It circulates online. It shows Robyn, looking incredibly stressed, digging through racks at a discount thrift store. Now, some people immediately jump to her defense, saying maybe she was just looking for a vintage find. Maybe she was just passing the time. But you have to ask yourself, Does Robyn Brown, the woman who famously required a full-time nanny while she was at home all day, strike you as a bargain hunter? Does the woman who demanded $1 million home because God would provide her a rental strike you as someone who voluntarily shops at a discount thrift store for fun? No. The optics are staggering, and they point to one very specific conclusion that fans have been screaming from the rooftops. The money is gone. But that is not even the strangest part of this whole financial puzzle. We need to talk about the dirt. Coyote Pass. This piece of land was supposed to be the family's legacy. It was supposed to be the promised land. Instead, it has become an anchor dragging them straight to the bottom of the ocean. According to public real estate tax records, which are totally accessible to anyone who wants to look them up, the taxes and payments on those parcels of land are astronomical. We know that Kody and Robyn managed to pay off a chunk of it recently. That part is confirmed by public records. But paying off the land is only step one. You still have to pay the annual property taxes. You still have to maintain it. And you still have the massive mortgage on the house Robyn actually lives in right next door. Now, rumors are swirling hard that a foreclosed sign was practically being printed for their front lawn. Can you imagine the karma of that? A foreclosed sign stabbed right into the manicured grass of Kody's mansion. While Janelle had to wash her dishes in a tiny RV sink and worry about where she was going to live, Kody and Robyn were sitting in a palace. If the bank actually steps in and takes that house, it would be the ultimate, undeniable proof that the king of polygamy was actually entirely dependent on his queens. Without them, he is financially bankrupt. And speaking of bankruptcy, let's dive into the massive rumor that they are secretly filing for it behind closed doors. There is a huge difference between being cash poor and being legally bankrupt. Being cash poor means you have to skip a vacation or eat out less. Being legally bankrupt means you have to go to a federal judge, lay out every single secret expense you have, and beg for mercy from your creditors. If Kody and Robyn are secretly filing for Chapter 7 or Chapter 13 bankruptcy, as the rumors strongly suggest, it means their financial secrets are about to be exposed in a court of law. And what exactly are those secrets? Let's do a little exercise. I want you to picture a fake estimated expense sheet for the Kody and Robyn Brown household right now on your screen. Just imagine the numbers rolling by. First, the mortgage on that massive house in Flagstaff. Given current interest rates and the value of the home, they are likely paying anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 a month just for the roof over their heads. Next, utilities for a house that size, heating, cooling, water, electricity, add another $1,000 easily. Then we have property taxes, not just for the house, but for the empty, useless dirt at Coyote Pass. Let's estimate another $1,500 a month just sitting in escrow. Then there is the car payments. We know Kody loves his trucks and sports cars. We have seen them on the show. Easily another $2,000 a month. Now add groceries for a large household, insurance, phone bills. We are looking at a baseline survival cost of roughly $12,000 to $15,000 a month, just to survive, just to keep the lights on and the cars in the driveway. Now, add the rumored credit card minimums for all that hoarding, the jewelry, the art, the shopping sprees, the alleged trips. If they have the kind of debt fans suspect they do, their minimum monthly payments could easily be another $3,000 to $5,000. So we're talking about a monthly outflow of nearly $20,000. Now ask yourself, where is $20,000 a month coming from right now? TLC paychecks for reality stars are often broken down per episode or per season, and historically, the Brown family negotiated as a unit. They took a lump sum and divided it, but now they are fractured. Christine has her own spin-off specials. Janelle and Mary are doing their own things. The ratings for the show are largely driven by the audience tuning in to support the women who left Kody. Nobody is tuning in because they just cannot wait to see Kody and Robyn sit on a couch and complain. The market value of Kody and Robyn alone is plummeting. And frankly, a reality TV paycheck is not a steady, guaranteed monthly salary. It comes in waves. And when the wave crashes, you are left stranded. This brings us right back to the secret bankruptcy rumors. Fans on Reddit have been breaking down the legal realities of what a bankruptcy would mean for them. If they file for Chapter 7, which is a liquidation bankruptcy, It means a trustee is appointed to sell off their non-exempt assets to pay back their creditors. What does that mean in plain English? It means someone comes into that Flagstaff mansion, points at the Dickens Village, points at the geode crystals, points at the David Yurman jewelry, points at the fancy trucks, and says, "We are taking this and this and this, and we are selling it to pay your Visa bill." It means the hoarding comes to an abrupt and legally mandated end. If they file for Chapter 13, which is a reorganization bankruptcy, it means they get to keep their stuff, but they are put on a strict, court-ordered 5-year repayment plan. Every dime they earn has to be accounted for. No more spontaneous shopping trips. No more luxury items. A federal judge literally puts them on an allowance. Can you imagine Kody Brown, a man whose entire ego is wrapped up in being the financial provider and the alpha male of his family, having to ask a court trustee for permission to buy a new watch? It is a staggering fall from grace. And we cannot ignore the karma of it all. For years, the audience watched as the family resources were disproportionately funneled towards Robyn. We all saw it. It is a documented part of the show's history. When they moved to Flagstaff, Robyn was the one who got the massive house. When they needed money for the down payment, the other wives sacrificed. The audience has been waiting for the scales to balance. They have been waiting for the universe to step in and say, enough. And watching Kody and Robyn allegedly spiral into financial ruin, facing foreclosure and secret bankruptcy, feels like the universe is finally balancing the books. But hold on, because we haven't even gotten to the biggest reveal yet, the one thing that truly changes the landscape of this entire story. The payoff I promised you at the start of this video. We talked about the thrift store, we talked about the tax records, we did the math on their massive estimated monthly expenses. But what is Robyn actually doing about it? How is the favorite wife handling the reality that the money is gone? Here is the rumor that is sending absolute shockwaves through the Sister Wives fan community. And remember, nobody from the family has officially confirmed this, but the whispers are getting incredibly loud. Rumor has it that Robyn Brown, the woman who has not held a traditional job outside the home since she joined the family over a decade ago, is frantically searching for a minimum wage job to help them survive. Let that sink in for a second. Read it again in your mind. Robyn Brown, clocking in. For years, the narrative on the show was that Robyn could not possibly work because her children needed her, or because she was managing the family business, My Sister Wife's Closet. And we all know how My Sister Wife's Closet turned out. It was a spectacular financial failure that the other wives were basically forced to fund and support against their better judgment. Robyn's version of work has always been sitting at a drafting table, sketching heart-shaped necklaces, while a nanny watched her kids in the other room. But the real world does not care about your jewelry sketches when the bank is threatening to take your house. The rumor circulating online is that after the thrift store incident, reality finally crashed down on Robyn. The credit cards are maxed. Kody is allegedly spiraling, unable to come up with another get-rich-quick scheme to save them. The gun show business isn't bringing in enough to cover the $20,000 monthly nut. So Robyn is supposedly updating a resume that hasn't seen the light of day in 15 years. Fans are speculating that she is looking for retail work, customer service, anything that will bring in a steady paycheck. Can you imagine the psychological toll that is taking on both of them? For Kody, his greatest fear has always been poverty. He has said it on the show multiple times. His greatest fear is being broke. And his entire patriarchal identity relies on him being the provider, the savior, the king of the castle. Watching his last remaining wife have to put on a name tag and stand behind a cash register at a local store in Flagstaff would absolutely shatter his ego into a million pieces. And for Robyn, the karma is almost poetic. For over a decade, she reaped the benefits of Janelle's grueling office hours. She benefited from Mary's relentless hustle with her clothing business. She benefited from Christine managing a massive household and doing online sales. Robyn lived the soft life on the hard work of 3 other women. And now that those women have taken their power and their paychecks back, Robyn is suddenly facing the cold, hard reality of the American working class. If this rumor is true, and Robyn is truly out there handing out resumes for minimum wage positions, It proves everything the fans have been saying for years. It proves that Kody and Robyn's lifestyle was a house of cards built on the backs of the OG3. It proves that without the financial abuse of the family pot, Kody and Robyn have absolutely no idea how to sustain themselves. We will come back to what this means for the future of the show in just a second, but you have to wonder how this plays out on camera. TLC loves a redemption arc, but they also love a tragic downfall. If the cameras are rolling right now, and Kody and Robyn are actually forced to film their financial ruin, it would be the highest-rated season in the history of the network. Imagine the producers asking Kody about the foreclosure rumors. Imagine Robyn crying, not her usual dry tears, but real, actual tears of panic because her credit card was declined at the grocery store. It is dark, yes, but after watching them financially manipulate the other wives for so many years, the audience is frankly here for it. We have to look at the larger picture here. What happens to Coyote Pass? If they are truly broke, they cannot keep that land. The most logical step, the step any financial advisor would tell them to take immediately, is to sell the land. Liquidate Coyote Pass, pay off the debts, downsize into a normal, affordable house. But Kody Brown does not do logical. Kody operates on pride and ego. Selling Coyote Pass means admitting defeat. It means admitting that his grand vision for the family was a complete and total failure. It means looking at the cameras and saying, "I failed." And we know Kody would rather go down with the ship than admit he was the one who drilled the hole in the hull. So they are stuck in this terrifying limbo. They can't afford to keep the property, but Kody's pride won't let him sell it. They can't afford their lifestyle, but they allegedly refuse to stop spending. And they are staring down the barrel of a bankruptcy court that will not care about Kody's ego. The federal government does not care that you used to be on reality TV. They care about assets and liabilities. And right now, Kody and Robyn are one massive liability. It is fascinating to watch the fan reaction to all of this. There is a sense of collective vindication. For years, fans screamed at their televisions. They screamed at Janelle to look at the bank statements. They screamed at Mary to stop giving Robyn money. They saw the writing on the wall. They saw the unfair distribution of wealth. And to watch it all unravel in real time, to see a thrift store photo become the catalyst for exposing a rumored secret bankruptcy, it feels like a movie script, but it is their real life. This is what happens when you build a life on a foundation of unequal partnerships. Eventually, the people doing all the heavy lifting realize they can just put the heavy thing down and walk away. Christine, Janelle, and Mary put the heavy thing down, and Kody and Robyn were crushed underneath it. I want to know exactly where you stand on this. Let's get into the comments right now. Do you think Kody and Robyn deserve to go broke? Yes or no? Is this the ultimate karma for how they treated the other wives? Or do you feel a little bit of sympathy for them facing losing their home? Drop a yes or no in the comments below and tell me why. And if you want to keep up with every single breaking detail of the sister wives fallout, hit that subscribe button right now. We are exposing the truth. We are separating the facts from the rumors, and we are not letting anyone hide behind closed doors. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.